Lawrence across from Miller, the Lumberjacks across from the RoughRiders. And this Friday night USHL matchup is underway. Lawrence won the draw. Sanderson sends it in. Lawrence gives chase down to the far side corner. He's met by Corneli. Huff takes it away. Sanderson forces it near side. Graff clears the zone, and now here's Benson. Back for Dagnon and ahead looking for Lawrence. It's Corneli who intercepts it. Up the far side for Lechner. Heavy check from Sanderson. But now Miller to the offensive zone. Near side, Lechner backhanded on net. It's deflected by JSD and off the back glass. Danny Clares now slows.
Superhero in your first shift. Just get legs moving. Try to get the gel with your line mates of who you got and then go from there.
Here's Danny Clares, D to D, JSD between his feet. Lechner jumps on it, but Sanderson gets it. Near side, here comes Benson. He'll lead the rush, cuts to the far side, and now down the wall. Holds at the blue line, near side, and finds Clares. Taken away by Graff. Regained by Clares, back in his own zone. Danny, feet moving, goes across the way and ahead for Sanderson. Centered for Benson, holds, fired on, big rebound, but it's forced away by Hawke Huff. Niles Benson, you could see he was thinking about passing it to Lawrence, chose to shoot, and it almost resulted in a bank.
To keep Cedar Rapids scoreless in this one.
Face-off won by the Riders. Huff down the wall, works in front, fires on. Axelson got it with the knee. Now here comes Dagnon. To the near side, Blanchard looks to get a step past Corneli, throws on net, and it's alongside Ryan Campo. Is Reginello with you? The Jacks, an offensive zone draw. They win it. Here's Lawrence. Tried to pull the trigger, but it went wide. Now chases back to the near side corner. Lawrence and Sanderson joined by Benson. Vukas and Hudson behind him. Bronco Vukas near side wall. Slows things down. Fires off the blocker of Cameron. Hudson keeps it in, and down to Benson he goes. Well, Lars Hudson is on the ice in front of us. His older brother Cole, from the stretcher to the score sheet, finding the back of the net. That's the kind of thing you really love to see when a guy can come back from a scary injury.
Muskegon will have to take advantage of a middle of the pack penalty kill.
Lawrence won the draw. Here's Clares, works down the far side. Down low, Drew Stewart. Sanderson and Christ on as well for the advantage. Lawrence, near side, Christ. Leaves back off for Tynan. Near side, holds, fires on. It got blocked, but Sanderson got the rebound. Near side, ahead for Clares. To the far side to Christ. Down low, Drew Stewart. Up top for Clares again. Fired on. Caught up in traffic. Cameron.
The top draft pick at the helm for the Muskegon Lumberjacks, Danny Clares. Your wish almost became reality.
It will, a little later on. Begins to go on the power play.
You blink, you miss that perfectly executed passing play. The old tic-tac-toe going west, back to east, back to west. And Ryan Cameron, the biggest save of the night so far on the penalty kill for the RoughRiders.
That's the kind of passing play where you say, well, what are you going to do if you're the goalie? And Ryan Cameron said, hold on, watch this. Back to the near side it comes. Ogren clears the zone. Morin clears the box, so we're back.
For Muskegon.
For Lechner, that keeps him at a point per game. 24th point in game number 24. Graff, he's a bit above that rate. His 30th point of the season, that's a nice little milestone just about halfway through the campaign. Game number 25 for Graff, the future Harvard Crimson. But now here comes Tynan Lawrence, far side. He fires and scores! Oh, Tynan Lawrence! Game, that's cute. His 16th in game number 12. It's a great chip by Sanderson for Lawrence to skate into. And you mentioned him. Now here's Clares. Looking for Noringer. Heavy reverse check from the Swedish-born forward. Clares gets it back. Now Dagnon. He takes a check from Boucher. Picked up by Graff. Now Corneli. Works down the slot and leaves off for Graff. Some extended zone time for the ride. Chipped ahead for Sanderson. Gloves it down and carries it to the offensive end. He's met by Huff. Sanderson back across the way. Miller corrals it with plenty of time and space. Gains speed and carries over the red line. Now the blue to the offensive zone. He fires just wide. Selski got it back ahead to Benson. Niles, set play. Schlitwig looks to win the race, but just a step ahead of him.
Finding their first and second shorthanded goals.
Sent back to the Muskegon zone, still shorthanded for 44 seconds, so Claire's down the ice he goes. Hawke Huff behind his own net to the near side for Romeo. Former Dubuque Fighting Saint back across for Scuderi, who's met by JSD. To the near side, here's Bosco. Up top for Huff. Across the way, gets it back from Lechner. Near side, one-timer Bosco turned aside, and the rebound sent down by Claire's. That'll all but do it for the CR power play. And now with icing called against the Riders, the Jacks will get an off.
Even strength in 8 seconds. So we'll see where Dexheimer goes, and then a forward will pop back on and get back to 5-on-5 play.
Here's Sanderson near side, looks behind the net for Lawrence. Huff took it away. Dexheimer out of the box, goes across the ice, and he's replaced by Benson. Face-off won by Muskegon, and Lawrence, he gets it back on the far side wall. Tynan steps in, down low for Stewart, gets it back and fires off.
With that time and space to create more scoring opportunities to try to make it a 2-goal game.
Jacks want another draw. It's on to Cameron, who punched it out of the air. Lawrence gets it far side. Tynan cuts towards the middle, leaves off for Christ, across the way, Claire's back to the near side for Lawrence, but it went off a rider and now sent down the ice by Boot. 2 seconds to go on the Jacks power play. 57 now in this first period. Noringer up the near side over the blue to the offensive zone. Looks in front. ATM a chance. Takes his place. Still 28 seconds to go on the power play. Blanchard wins the draw to Noringer. Victor, middle of the ice, off for Vukas. Steps backwards. Fired on, loose in front to the back door. Benson couldn't get it to go. Here's Noringer, centered for Vukas. To the near side, drops off, ATM. Thomas Maroon, far side, Noringer, a one-timer, got blocked by Huff. Out of the box comes Romeo. Noringer, he keeps it to the offensive zone. Down low for Benson. Niles, put against the boards by Emmons. Right at the Trinity Health advertisement. Huff comes in, so does ATM. 2 seconds to go in the period. Out for Vukas, who carries it back to the blue line as time expires. But the Lumberjacks take a 2-1 lead back to the locker room, and a couple in. With Dagnot and Claire's for the Lumberjacks. Lawrence, he wins the opening draw of this second period. Dagnot carries it back behind Carl Axelson. Up the far side, here he comes. He'll lead the rush. Ahead for Lawrence. Good play by Corneli, shuts it down, and now here comes Musa. Met by Claire's, but only for a moment. Musa at his own bench, now to the offensive zone. Looks to lower his shoulder. Pretty move to the near side, but it's poked away by Claire's, and back into the neutral zone it goes. Taken back by Lawrence and forced down to the far side corner. Met by Hawke Huff. The two continue to battle with a couple other green jerseys in the area. The Lumberjacks, they changed the other 3 players on the ice. It's Hudson and Vukas, joined by Christ. Drew Stewart on to replace Lawrence. He leans in. Miller, his counterpart, won by the Lumberjacks centerman, and now here's JSD. Reverses for Claire's. Benson, the 4th guy on for the Lumberjacks. While Thomas Maroon has it back at his own blue line. Left off for Claire's again, up the near side for Benson. Half a minute to go up 4-on-4. Niles, the offensive zone, curls back towards the blue line and sends it down low. Cameron takes it, thought about going to the far side, instead decides to go back near side. Good decision, here comes Davis. Fired on, Axelson didn't just make to him. That's when something special really happens. He wins the draw. Sanderson pushed it forward up to the blue line and gets it out. But it's kept in, that was Huff. Now off for Miller. To the far side, met by Claire's. Up to the blue line, cycles down low to Graff. The goal scorer back in the first period for Cedar Rapids. To the blue line, it's knocked down by Sanderson, picked up by Graff. His shot blocked by Lawrence. 13th goal of the season, a pretty even split. 13 and 13 for 26 total points here in game number 29. Coring back in his own zone, off for Claire. So that makes it a brand new game. Still 4-on-4 for a minute and change. Huff up the middle of the ice for Musa. Across the way, Morin pushes ahead. Bosco met by Coring, and it's taken away. Here's Christ. Back for Coring behind the net. He'll fly the zone. Claire's far side, takes a check, but leaves off for Benson. Up the far side, off for Christ, kicks it to his stick. Puts the brakes on far side and works down low. Leaves off for Benson. He cuts towards the middle. Tried a nifty little move, but it's taken away by Huff. Now to the near side, Bosco. Over the blue line.
Things opened up with those 3 goals in about a minute and a half, but we'll see where things go from here, tied up.
Great play by Bergeron. Gets it back in the neutral zone. A heavy forecheck, or back check rather, from Gordon. Didn't let Bergeron get too far down the ice, though. Hudson. Behind his own net. Up the near side he goes. Finds Bergeron. Centered for Schlechtwig. Taken back by Morin. Now Boucher in front of the Muskegon bench. Schlechtwig got it and got it in. Jacks. Bit of a bad line change. Here comes Gordon right back. Fires on. Hudson got his shin pad in the shooting lane. Back out to Miller. Now Vukas. His stick lifted. Still in the battle though, so Hudson comes over to help out. Comes away with Graff. Up to the blue line, Minor. Back across the way to Miller. Away from Drew Stewart. Behind the net he goes. Popped out in front. Hudson not allowing Graff to get a shot off. Stewart, he'll look to clear it, and does, just by a couple of feet before it's taken right back in by...
That's happened because it was a wide open net. So good on 2 there for Muskegon for his collapse.
A Mezabine had it for a moment. It cleared the zone, so Huff sends it right back. Nick Coring behind the net goes across to Claire, centered for ATM, and now on the near side, Jake Stewart. Taken by Huff, regained by Thomas Maroon, looking for Stewart. Huff gets it back. He'll lead the rush up the near side. Down to the corner, met by Coring and forced behind the net. Now on the far side of the ice, he goes up top. Here's Davis. Couldn't pull the trigger, so he sends it down low. Zemaitis meets a Mezabine. 2-on-2 in the corner continues. Claire's and Zemaitis now joined by Coring for the Lumberjacks. It comes away with Musa. Up top to Huff. Fumbled possession, but somehow Musa finds it. Sends it back down to the far side corner. Now Zemaitis looks ahead for Jake Stewart. Out of his reach, Melker Morin takes it back. All the way down to the 124 on the Mackenzie Price power play. Face off, one back by Lawrence. Here's Claire's. Middle of the blue line. To the near side, Lawrence. Down low, Stewart. Back to Lawrence. The net had come off. Lawrence, he'll take the draw near side across from Sullivan Miller. The Jacks, they win it, and now here's Claire's walking the blue line. To the middle he goes, back to the near side, finds Lawrence, and across the way, Christ. Up top to Claire's. Near side to Lawrence, the 2 crisscross. Tynan still with it, far side. Near side to Claire's, off for Christ. Back across, looking for Lawrence. Great play by Sanderson to at least keep it close. Tynan in his own zone, feet moving. Curls back to his own end. Leaves off for Claire's, and now on the near side, it's Stewart with it. Drew looks for Lawrence, couldn't get it to go, and all the way back down to the Muskegon zone. Axel's
Get one on the board here.
It's the second unit for the Lumberjacks. ATM, Blanchard, Benson, Noringer, and Vukas. Here comes Vukas, up the far side, over the red line, now drops off for Thomas Maroon. Across to Noringer. Now Blanchard, down low, Victor. To the near side he goes. Up for Benson on the wall. Niles for Noringer. Walks to the middle, still with it. To the near side for Vukas. Bronco pushes in front, bouncing puck, swiped away by Huff. Kept close by Noringer, forced out by Huff. 2-on-1 rush. Near side, pushes out in front, though it bounces over the stick of Nick Romeo, who was the intended receiver. Benson, near side to 4-on-4. Thomas Corneli, knocked down by Sanderson. He'll lead the rush. Sanderson near side, holds, fires just wide of the cage. The rebound back up the far side where Sanderson is met by Musa. He'll carry to the offensive zone. Jason Musa, his chance goes high and wide as well. Out of the box comes Graff. And now 55 seconds of a Cedar Rapids power play. Near side, Bosco. Push down low to Graff. Up top, Huff. Walks to the near side. Pushes down the wall for Graff. Looking down low, it eventually gets there. It's Romeo's side of the net. Turned aside by Axelson. Jake Stewart, he bangs a body. That's Romeo far side corner. It comes up top to Huff. He works to the middle, fires on, it goes wide. Back to the near side corner, it goes across the way. Great keep by Bosco at the blue line. Down to Lechner. Now Bosco cuts to the middle. His pass intercepted by Stewart. It's back down low with Romeo, but out of the box is Blanchard. Near side, Graff. Chuck clears it up the near side. Morin, he meets it back in his own end. Sent back in by the RoughRiders. 20 seconds to go in the period. Here's ATM near side. Looked for Chris, but couldn't have him. Now Graff to the offensive zone to Miller. In front, fired high and wide. Came off the stick of the young Braden Scuderi. Dexheimer will hold on behind his own net and play to the near.
The Eastern Conference in the USHL, big, strong third period you expect for the Muskegon Lumberjacks.
Lawrence across from Miller, and for the first time tonight, the RoughRiders win the opening face-off of the period. They get it deep to the Muskegon zone. Jacks going left to right across your screens and radios. Fired onto Axelson, loose in the blue paint. He jumps backwards. It comes out in front. Back to the blue line for Huff. Turned aside. JSD blocked it at the top of the crease. Oh, well, for the first time tonight, the RoughRiders win the opening draw of the period, and they get the first grade A scoring chance of the period. We slow things down just a little bit. Battle continues on the far side corner. Lawrence in for the Lumberjacks across from Hawke Huff. Graff comes in and takes it away. Out for Sullivan Miller. Chipped out of the zone by Benson. Miller back to receive it. Back up for Graff. Joined.
That's two chances now for both teams in the opening 3 minutes.
Here comes Bergeron for Blanchard. Now Clares fires on. Oh, it went wide. Didn't look like it was going there. It's kept in by JSD. To the near side for Bergeron. Up top, Schlechtwig. Forced out of the zone by Ogren. Looking down low, finds Gordon in the corner. Clares and Ogren come together behind the net. Thrown out in front. Axelson got it with the glove. Back behind the net. It pops to the side of the cage. And
they're one of the powerhouses.
well, here comes Stewart. He played at Benilde St. Margaret. Near side, here's the Wyzetta, but Minnetonka product. Danny Clares, born raised in Minnetrista. Now here's Drew Stewart to the offensive zone. Far side corner, leaves off for Noringer. Victor pops out in front. It comes back to Stewart, middle of the slot. To the far side away from Huff. Poked off of his stick. Bosco jumps on top. Clears the zone, so Clares up here ready to go for it.
I'd be the official.
Yeah.
I'd give you the win regardless.
Sanderson sends it in. Lawrence down to the near side corner. Down to the ice he goes. Kept close by Sanderson. Across the way, Scuderi gives chase. Hudson trying to throw a check. Gets it to the offensive zone. Lars, pretty move, leaves off for Sanderson. He's met by Huff. Now, if I had my guess as to who it's going to be that guy, 15-4. The other way goes Romeo, looking for Scuderi. It's taken away by Vukas. Drew Stewart, taken by Romeo. Now Huff again, ahead for Morin. Across.
Who's going to be the hero for either team to make that one extra play that's going to separate one team from 2 points and one team from one?
2-on-1 rush. Zemaitis far side. Fires on the rebound. Comes right back to him. Back to his feet. Turns and fires again. Another save, but another rebound. Jake Stewart now a chance, and again, zone for it. Here's Lawrence working to the far side. To the near side, Stewart. That's Jake Stewart. Got a piece of it. Icing waved off. Morin, near side, taken by Lawrence. Up to the blue line and across the way to Hudson. Fires a one-timer turned aside by Cameron with Jake Stewart. A flyby screen in front. Lawrence back to Benson near side. Sent down low. Benson took a bump. Cameron takes possession. He finds Morin near side. Ahead for Ogren. Away from Bukas, so Hutt's over as well. Musa fires on high and wide. It comes back to Morin near side. Sanderson for Christ in the neutral zone, met by Lechner, who knocks it away from him. Now Miller. Near side, Clares pushes across the way. Huff back in his own zone for it. 3:47 to go in regulation. Far side, Henry Lechner with Fuller near side to Graff. Back down to Miller. His stick lifted by Dexheimer. To the far side corner we go. It's Drew Stewart now for Sanderson. Off for Stewart. Chip to the offensive half of the ice, but it's right back ahead with Lechner. Left off for Miller. Near side wall. Cuts to the middle and fires off the shoulder of Axelson. Lawrence right back onto the ice. It comes back into the neutral zone. Huff there to receive it. 50 seconds to go in regulation. Wrapped in. Axelson slows it down. Davis met in the corner by time. You score, you win. If no one scores, we go to a shootout. Lawrence across from Romeo. Overtime underway. It's won by Cedar Rapids. Romeo works in. Turned aside by Axelson. That might have been the fastest overtime winner in USHL history.
And he read that so perfectly, seeing it go backhand, forehand, read it like a book. Good on Axelson.
Lawrence looking to cause a turnover deep in the CR zone. It's won by the RoughRiders. And now here comes Nick Romeo. Dropped off for Graff. Up the near side. Met by Sanderson and pushed behind the net. Graff to the far side. Puts the brakes on. Looks out in front. Great stick by Clares. Deflects the pass, but Romeo recovers. Possession important. You'd rather give up zone time for good possession. Romeo right back in. Met by Clares. And plays back to Davis, who now enters the offensive zone. Cuts to the far side. And again, curls back into the neutral zone. Huff. Off for Miller, goes back behind his own net. Shots are 41-27 in favor of the Lumberjacks. 6-2 in this overtime period. Here's Huff in front. Miller the chance, gloved away by Axelson. And now Christ ahead for Benson. The two couldn't connect, but Niles will win the race and icing waved off. Back for Christ in the neutral zone. Cedar Rapids wanted too many on the ice against the Lumberjacks. They don't get it. Instead, Jack Christ across the way through the neutral zone he goes. The offensive end, down into the corner, drops off for Dexheimer and gets it back on the near side. Back for Benson in the neutral zone. Christ, he'll get off for a change. Tynan Lawrence takes his place. Benson, center ice logo, off for Lawrence near side with speed to the offensive zone. Curls back up the wall, weaves off for Benson. Niles, down the near side, across the top of the circle, off for Lawrence, back out in front for Benson. It wouldn't go. Here comes Henry Lechner. Great stick lift by Benson to shut down the rush. Now here he comes the other way, but the end of a long shift at 3-on-3, so he'll just hold on and get off for a change. Here comes Vukas, the offensive zone. Bronco behind the net to the near side, pushed out in front in the blue paint. Swiped away by Graff down to the corner. Now Huff on the near side. Off for Graff. Lawrence and Vukas now joined by Sanders. Stewart with Noringer and Clares. Won by Musa. Huff fires. It got blocked. Stewart flies the zone. Gets it from Clares. Here he comes. Drew Stewart, far side. Fires on. It goes wide. And back to Noringer in the neutral zone. Now here comes Clares. He'll lead the rush. Met by Musa. To the offensive zone he goes. Drops off for Stewart. Taken away by Huff. 2-on-1 rush. To the near side for Davis. Behind Noringer. Fires wide of the cage as time expires.